This is why I feel like, if you're not already set up, if you don't already have assets or a great job that's already providing you cash like that, to figure out some sort of business model that produces you cash flow in the meantime, or you can build a model that can produce cash flow for you, it opens doors for you in the future. Hey, welcome to Uncommon State of Mind, where we debate different ways to leverage your next investment to create time freedom, legacy impact, and generational wealth in order for you to live that uncommon life. But in order to do that, you need to be uncommon. My name is Joey, aka Mr. J Mays.
And I'm AD, also known as AD the Fly Realtor.
Boom. So,
yeah, I mean, it's an age-old real estate investing question. What should you be going after more? Cash flow or appreciation? And cash flow, for those of you who don't know, cash flow is just whatever money you make after all expenses for that property are paid for. So that's mortgage, maintenance, repairs, everything you could think of for that property. Anything after that, including savings, everything after that is considered cash flow. So is that more important than the appreciation? And appreciation is, how do I explain appreciation? Appreciation, so just how much the property gains in value over the course of time, or by forced appreciation, which is improving the property. So what's more important, that cash flow or appreciation? Let's get into it.
Definitely. AD is on the side of, appreciation. And originally it was long-term appreciation, but
really either, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm really like long-term appreciation, but appreciation in general. But yeah, long-term appreciation.
Okay, because if it was just long-term appreciation, this would have been an easy dub for me. Like, this would have been an easy dub for me. Because if we're talking forced appreciation, well then okay, you're gonna, that's all right. But anyways, obviously I'm on the side of cash flow, because ultimately, look, appreciation is great. You do want to have assets that appreciate in the future. And you want to be able to, maybe refinance or pull some cash out from that appreciation and do whatever you want. But in the short term, guys, like we want cashing out. You know what I'm saying? This is a microwave society that we're in. Sometimes you don't want to have to wait 5, 10, 15 years for something to appreciate. Sometimes you want cash for right now, this moment, so you can do what you want to do. You want to be able to that next month you're going to have the exact same amount of cash flow that came in the month before, because you have assets set up that way that allow you to enjoy the lifestyle that you want to go ahead and pursue.
That was very cute. Microwave society. Oh, we don't want to wait for our money. That was, very cute, and very, very in line with today's generation, especially the Gen Zs, but, us old timers, the millennials, we understand that it takes time for something great. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's good for people to want cash flow, especially early on, because this show is for the beginners, everybody who's just starting out or maybe has 1 or 2 properties. That's what this show is for. I don't think it's responsible for that person to be so heavily weighted towards the cash flow. And let me tell you why. Cash flow is just one of the ways that real estate investing makes money for you. And it's not even the most lucrative way, believe it or not. So appreciation is really where it's at. Let me tell you why. So would you say getting $1,000 a month from cash flow is impressive?
It's a start.
$1,000 a month. That's a start.
It's good.
All right.
Start.
So let's get into the numbers.
Okay.
All right. Let's say we have a $500,000 property. Okay. Well, first of all, that $1,000 a month in a year, that's $12,000.
Fair.
That's popping.
Okay.
That's popping. That's with most of you are not going to get that your first few properties. Maybe after first few properties combined, you'll get that.
Depending on your strategy.
Right. Depending on your strategy. But yeah, that $1,000, your first property is pretty impressive. Unless you buy it cash. So anyway, if you get $1,000 a month over a year, that's $12,000, which is cool. And the dopest part is you were getting it every single month, I'm sure.
Okay.
If, let's say my property is $500,000, and if I bought it here in Los Angeles where properties increase about 8 to 10% a year,
Okay.
this is appreciation I'm talking about. If let's go 8%, I'll go low end. Let's even go 7.
Okay.
Plus 7%. That's 35,000. So in 1 year of appreciation, I already more than doubled what you're getting in cash flow. Let's go. So then 2 years, that's 70,000 compared to that 24,000 it would be for my $1,000 cash flow. And and it probably would have gone up a little bit, but still, for all intents and purposes, we're looking at about 24 to 30,000 over the course of 2 years.
Okay.
I'm more than doubling that over the course of 2 years by depending on my appreciation.
Okay. Now, depending on the strategy that you have, you know what I'm saying? So he's going off of basis of, $1,000 if you have your first couple of properties, that's great. There's strategies out there where you can have a little bit more cash flow off of that without even, buying an asset, right? Which is, I'm not going to get too deep into all of the different strategies or anything like that, because just know that it's possible. Now, I say that because, yes, it's very lucrative. You know what I'm saying? In the future, if you want to wait free money, but how many of you know people who are just like, oh yeah, when I get all of my appreciation, I'm going to be able to spend money in about 10 years. Or I'm going to be able to spend money in about 15 years. Oh, wait, we're going to take that vacation because the money I got saved up. What is this, bro? What is this, bro? I'm going to go get, I got you over here.
Joey just turned it to your grandpa.
Bro, I'm just saying, because you're going to be a grandpa by the time you want to spend it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I walked into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the time you want to spend it, you're going to be a grandpa. You know what I'm saying? The things that you want to do then are going to be very different than the things you want to do right now. Do you want to be able, in your youth, to take these vacations, to know that you have a stockpile of cash that's coming to you next month, you know what I'm saying, in order for you to live the lifestyle that you want. And don't get me wrong, say you did want to maybe save up for a down payment for some sort of longer term investment. Well, you have this, let's just start with the $1,000 example that you gave. Say you decided to save, like, I don't know, $500 every month, or maybe you decide to save all $1,000 from that cash flowing asset to then have a down payment for something like that's going to go ahead and produce you that appreciation later down the line. You know what I'm saying? But it's your option. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you want to be like, hey, do I want to do this and get that asset now? Or maybe I want to have fun for a couple of years and have fun for a couple of years, have this reoccurring cash flow coming to me, and then maybe when I'm finally ready to be old, because as you alluded to, this is what you said. Oh, us older generation millennials, don't put me in that category. I ain't old. But maybe when you're ready to settle down and be like, okay, I want to be more mature with my money, and maybe use the cash flow that I'm getting to invest in something that's going to benefit me long term and appreciate.
I mean, that sounds good and all, but honestly, I don't know if I think investing in real estate for money right now today is even the best for anybody. I believe you should be improving your skills in another way, either at your W-2 or more preferably in business. Sure. Increasing those skills so that you can build the amount of money you make, increase the amount of money you make, slide that money. Money is just energy, first of all. So, that's all money is. The transfer of money is like the transfer of energy. It never goes away or is destroyed. It just goes from one source to another. So transfer that energy from your bank account or from your paycheck and transfer it into a property and let that energy go to work. That's what's going to build your wealth. That's what's going to build your money. But if I'm trying to depend on the cash flow, that probably means I don't even have a lot of money coming in right now. So what I want to know is, what strategy are you going to implement with little to no money to even be able to cash flow like that? Because to be able to cash flow in most markets, especially in metro markets, you need to have a large down payment or to buy the property in cash.
Okay.
More often than not.
Okay.
So, like, why would that be? At least if we're talking about residential real estate, 1 to 4 unit properties.
Okay.
So why would I let that be my sole focus, where I can get into a property for, if it's owner occupied, as little as 3.5%, even 0% down, 5% conventional, 10% even. Like, I have an opportunity to get in a property for a low amount, be in there, live there, rent out rooms or units, and after time, I can take that money and go move on to something else. But because I wasn't depending on the cash flow, I had my own, you know what I mean? I have my own income already.
Right.
Like, now when I get this surplus from my appreciation, because I waited, like a good millennial should, I waited to build up my appreciation. Now I take this appreciation, I go move that energy into either a bigger asset or whatever I need to do. Fund a business, put your kid through college, whatever you need to do, because you allowed the appreciation instead of, like, selling yourself for $12,000 a year.
Okay. So, quick question. So, nobody can live off of $12,000 a year. So, obviously, if you have something that's cash flowing you, say $1,000 a month, that's probably your side hustle for the most part, because you're probably doing something else in order to generate you, whatever you're comfortable making during that time. So if you're looking at the cash flow from $1,000 to like enrich your life in a way that you're $1,000 a month isn't gonna do it for you. What I'm saying is, if you already have a job, a stable job that you're already into and you're doing, and you're able to invest in some sort of income producing asset, that you maybe don't necessarily own, but does provide cash flow for you on a monthly basis. Well, along with the money that you make from your job, now you have an additional $1,000 a month that you can play with. And if if you decide to grow that investment to the point where you're making maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a month, along with what you're already doing, well, now you have a lot more money to play with, and go have fun with, or maybe even invest with in the future if you like, right? So that's my main point when it comes to that is if you can, and you ask, like, what investment can you do that's going to allow you to do that? I'm in it. Short-term rentals. Like, off of one unit, net profit, I could take home $1,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? And that's, depending on your market, that could be the low end. You know what I'm saying?
So,
right.
So let me tell you where the difference is in this. So if we're talking about ownership of property, that's one thing. But if we're talking about the business of real estate, that's another. So when you're in the business of real estate, that's where you really make money. You know what I mean? The owning of real estate in and of itself, it's only going to make you money through, appreciation or cash flow.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I do get where you're coming from, especially as a short-term rental guy. You're like, shoot, give me that property. You know what I mean? Let me do what I need to do. Yeah. And we're going to get some guys in there 3 days or less. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get where you're coming from as far as that. But then even that, like, I'm sure people in that industry who own units and then eventually sell them or 1031 exchange them or whatever they need to do to be able to liquidate that those funds, they'll tell you that, okay, the money they made from income is cool, but the appreciation is really what made that an ideal investment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to make it seem like cash flow is bad.
Yeah.
Cash flow is dope.
Either way, on either side, don't get me wrong, like, depending on the type of person that you are, and we always come back to this, but, like, I'm coming from a mindset, like, right now in my youth, knowing that I have my entire future to invest, if I know that I can make cash flow right now and be able to take maybe the trips that I wanted, or maybe be able to do some of the things that I'm only going to be able to do at my current age, at my current time, you know what I'm saying? Why not do that why not do that now? And while you still have these vehicles later on when you get all that out your system, you're like, you know what? maybe right now I'm making this cash flow.
You know what?
I want to go ahead and put into something that's going to last me. As you said, like if we're talking about Gen Z, how many people, even millennials, how many people are really like gun ho on owning a home? Most people are renting. We have digital nomads. We have people that want to move around and want to have the flexibility to move around and to have a monthly mortgage payment to do that. People don't want that. People want more flexibility. And with that flexibility, since you're not paying mortgage, you have a lot of cash that's more available to you to go ahead and do other things with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is grossly misleading.
Is it?
Like, oh, because you're not paying a mortgage, you have all this money. It's like, well, no, if you're not paying a mortgage, it's because you're paying rent.
Well, no, yeah.
So either way, you are paying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, like one of the things I like a lot about you, Joey, you know what it is that you know how to have the end goal in mind and, overlook the quick and, what's the word I'm looking for? The quick and easy little W's. You know what I mean? You go for the big one. So I view that as me like striving and clawing for just cash flow. I'm overlooking the big goal at the end, which is more than double what I'll be getting from cash flow in a lot of times, because usually appreciation is going to outpace whatever cash flow you get from a property, so unless you just buy at the absolute worst time and you don't hold long enough, so, when I say that, I'm just saying where it's like, if you have more of a long-term outlook on things, that appreciation is going to benefit you more than that cash flow did. So although in the time being that cash flow did sustain you, that extra income, it was cool, but that appreciation, that's life-changing, because when you sell a property or on paper, refinancing is almost like selling a property on paper. So they call that a liquidation event. Only at a liquidation event is wealth created. You don't create wealth by, monthly, just little monthly income. Like, wealth is created at the liquidation event. So at the purchase and or at the sale is when wealth is created. So if you have skills enough to sustain you in your career or in your business, and you just allow this asset, this vehicle, to just continue to grow, the crazy part is the cash flow is going to improve every single year. So if you bought with appreciation in mind at first, in the first year, all it did was cover itself. Then the second year, you may have got a little bit. Then the third year, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to end up with not just the cash flow, but the appreciation, because you looked with the long-term lens instead of just trying to hoe yourself out for a little bit of cash flow here and there.
So so the thing is, as AD says, depending on your vehicle, yes, year over year, your cash flow will improve with a long-term asset. But with a short-term asset that's providing you cash flow, who's to say that you only have one short-term asset that's providing you cash flow? If you're able to mimic that business model and get additional cash flow year over year, so maybe the first year, or maybe the first 3 years, because say it takes time to pay back your initial down payment to start this short-term endeavor, maybe the first 3 years is only $1,000 of income coming every month. Maybe during year 4, you've now doubled. It's now $2,000 a month of reoccurring cash flow each month. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now it's $5,000 a month that you keep on getting back into your pockets each month. You know what I'm saying? So no, it's very beneficial to have that asset. Don't get me wrong. But once again, if you're talking about multiplying short-term if you're talking about multiplying the investment that got you that cash flow in the first place, now we're looking at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 coming back into your bank account each month. Now, once again, you could definitely still think with the long-term game in mind. Now I have all this cash flow, so if I do get a property, I don't have to rely on, I don't have to have a single point of failure in my investment game or in my investment strategy. I could afford to let this property debt service or do whatever it has to do in order for it. And I'll still be fine because I have this short-term cash flow still coming into my pockets. As a matter of fact, in the short-term rental game, for the way that I was taught was first you build up a bunch of short-term cash flowing arbitrage units. Once your cash flow becomes to the point where each month that passes, you'll have enough to cover a mortgage payment just from the short-term cash flow. Then you go and buy a long-term asset because now you no longer have a single point of failure. You have this recurring cash flow coming in $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. And if this property over here doesn't say something happens and it wasn't a safe investment and you're going to lose money on it for a couple of months, the cash that you have from that cash flowing asset will be able to cover that while the market recovers. And then once it does, boom, now you have two assets, a long-term and a short-term asset that's putting you in that great position.
I mean, that's cool, but so what's the end game if I'm so heavily focused on cash flow alone? What's my end game?
That's the thing. Like, think about, there's a lot of things that you can do with recurring cash flow. Like if I wanted to put a down payment on a property that's going to cost me $20K, it's going to take me 4 months to accumulate that. knowing that I'm going to get this continuous cash flow. When it comes to investing, no, don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's after time. It's after time, but imagine having so much cash flow coming in that no matter what investment you get in, you're safe because you know that you have enough cash to cover any down periods because of, you have very recurring cash flow that's coming in that's covering your ass.
And let me tell you, don't listen to anything he just said. All right. Get your property right. So first off, he's wrong. Get your property. All right. Make sure that either if you're paying for it or you have tenants paying for it, that the mortgage is covered. All right.
Yeah.
Continue building your skills and making money at your day job or in your business. Continue to do that. Grow your money as much as you can, as quickly as you can. Let that property take care of itself and appreciate. If you start to build up cash flow, don't even touch the cash flow. Continue to put that in the bank. Put it in the bank. Put it in the bank. What happens is when you get to your liquidation event, when you refinance, when you get your HELOC, when you sell that property, that's when you're able to move that money, move that energy to a bigger asset that will allow you to cash flow right away. You know what I mean? But you could do this because you had delayed gratification. You weren't so ready. You weren't picking the nickel today over the dime tomorrow. You saw the dime tomorrow and you were smart and you were like, I'm going to listen to AD. Because if I listen to Joey, I may get a little bit of cash right now, but I'm going to be done for in the future. I have no retirement plan because all I wanted was a little bit of cash flow right now. Whereas if you listen to AD, I'll set you up, I'll get you right, and your retirement will be set. Who are you with? Let us know in the comments.
Look, all I'm saying is he said we're going to talk about retirement. So when are you going to get your money? When are you going to get your money?
This is the problem. This is the problem.
Saying.
He's got the same financial advisor as Wesley Snipes. I promise you that.
Do you want money now or do you want to wait? Yeah, when I'm retired, wait till look at my
skills for the money now.
Look at my retirement.
Assets for the money later.
My retirement. Beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree. Build your retirement. Build it, baby. It's great stuff. But that shouldn't be your bragging for my retirement. Look at my retirement right here.
It's not your bragging point till you get there and you don't have none. Then you gonna wish you had some bragging points.
I'm gonna go on all the vacations I couldn't go on back in the day. Do it now. Build that cash flow now.
Do it now and be broke later. Joey's advice is so you can be broke later.
I just gave you the plan.
If you so worried about cash flow.
If you're able to build that cash flow up to a point where you can cover down payments for long-term assets, I'm not gonna AD's position is solid. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's not. But there's two ways. There's many ways to skin the cat. My way is one of them, but I do suggest that you do the due diligence to find the asset or find the vehicle that's going to allow you to do that.
No,
but at the same time, what AD is talking about is spot on too. You know what I'm saying? If you don't mind taking the time and having that delayed gratification, like say you have a really high paying job, say you're well said, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a lawyer or something like that. Your day-to-day, your monthly income is great. You're already getting that 5, 6K a month or 7, 10K a month. And you can just hold off and let an asset appreciate over time because you don't need it right away. For other folks, you know, and I'm not saying, because there's no real like get rich quick scheme, but there's ways to accumulate cash flow quicker. That way you can actually afford to get assets like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's not one way that this could take place. There's many ways. There's many ways for sure. But just pick mine because you get money to that.
Not easy. In all honesty, though, Joey's right. Because honestly, I don't think it's smart for anybody to just be like, I'm only concerned about cash flow. I'm only concerned about appreciation. You're really looking for where you can find the advantage. So a lot of times that might be your local market. Well, what does your local market have to offer? Mm-hmm. If your local market, what your local market offers suits your needs or your desires, then run with it. If not, then maybe you have to look outside your market.
Yeah.
But ideally, man, you want both.
You do want both.
You want cash flow and you want some appreciation.
So I'm gonna share a story because I just actually was talking to AD about this. So in the short-term rental space, me and my partner, where we both operate in Los Angeles, we started our short-term rental business in 2021. We started with one unit. It was funded by us by a personal loan or personal cash. The first year we did that, we were able to hold that investment for a year. We of course started a business. We got fresh. We started our business and everything, and then we got funded year 2, which was 2022. We got funded and we added 2 more units, which cost us about $24K. But those 3 units paid off that $24K in our 3rd year. So we're about to, our 3rd year is in what, 2023?
Starting in 2021.
2021, 2022, we start. Oh, so 2023 is actually what we continue to pay off debt. We are actually about to finish paying off the debt from all 3 units this year in 2024. And we net around just short of 5K a month off of 3 units. So this is very doable. And these are assets that we don't own. These are assets that is arbitrage. So this is a very doable process and we're actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, but definitely you do need to pick a strategy. Like for us, and this is why I feel like, if you're not already set up, if you don't already have assets or a great job that's already providing you cash like that, to figure out some sort of business model that produces you cash flow in the meantime, or you can build a model that can produce cash flow for you. It opens doors for you in the future. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
That's just a point that I do want to.
No,
sure that was possible.
One thing we always come back to on this show is that just look at all aspects, look at as much as possible, and then see what works for you. Like really, because no one person is going to be able to tell you what works for you. Mm-hmm. And if you're depending on someone else to tell you what works for you, you have a bigger problem. You need to discover that first. Yeah. But really, do some soul searching, check out what strategy works for you. What's most important to you? Do you need money right now? And if you do, maybe look at other ways, because I do like Joey's aspect where make sure you have money coming in so that way the cash flow isn't what you're living off of. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be in a position until you're big enough where you're living on cash flow. Not early on. A beginner should not be depending on cash flow for their life. No. That's my humble opinion. I'm sure somebody else has their own opinion. Cash flow, okay, yeah, get your cash flow, but you also want that appreciation. Yeah. You don't want a bunch of cash flow and then in 5 years your property only appreciated like $20,000 or as much as the cash flow for a year.
You know what I'm saying? Just saying, there's definitely a couple of ways to skin the cat. But yeah, man, I mean, if we had to be for today, I'd say be strategic. Be strategic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have to, go in with a game plan. Right. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you can't just say, oh, I want to get cash flow and not have a game plan about if things go awry. You can't just say, oh, I want an asset. I want to go get these assets, but you don't have a game plan if you're not making money for the next couple of years.
There's a point in an asset that you're not doing anything with.
You know what I'm saying?
Or don't know what to do with.
And you don't always going with the end game. I think that should probably be our next game. Right. I don't know. We'll try something out.
Be end game minded. Right. But you heard the man. Be strategic, be you, and be uncommon.
Yep. Stay up.
Right.